absolutely fine. There's no ego involved. It's an opportunity for any writer to be able to talk to readers and to meet other authors. So let's make it a meaningful half an hour.
There we go. Well, this book, in the introduction, you say, my children call me a prude. Nobody believes them. They laugh when I change the subject if it turns raunchy. So the question is, how and why does a self-confessed prude write a book on the sensual self?
Well, to start with, the sensual self is not the sexual self. There's a very big difference. So, my idea was to remind ourselves about what sensuality is, what it means, because it's been a lifelong search for me. It's not a subject I take lightly. It's been something that has not just intrigued me, but in many ways made me ask myself a lot of questions. That at which stage did we as Indians lose track of all that was sensual about our everyday lives? It's not about what happens in the bedroom. It's about beauty. It's about touch. It's about fragrance. It's about food. It's about the little acts every day between yourselves as a family and certainly with your partner that can enhance your life in a wonderful way if you're mindful, aware that at some point we lost track, and at some point we can always come back to something that was precious, and actually it was something so rich that enriched us so much. And then the dish came along, and boom, that was gone. It was, what they brought in with them was as bland as their cuisine, and they completely, in a way, hijacked our sensual existence and made it into something like blancmange, like bland and tasteless, and something we had to be ashamed of rather than celebrate. Till that point, whether it was our music, our sculpture, our dance, our colors, every state with its very individual kind of take on what makes life beautiful, colorful, sensual. And then we were like one blob of one kind of a culture which was dictated to by Victorian norms. And we were made to feel somehow embarrassed and ashamed of all that in the past we had enjoyed and celebrated.
In fact, there's a book out by Sindhu Rajasekaran which talks exactly about many of the things you're talking about from a queer context, but about how the British came and took away fluidity. That sensuality is a lot about fluidity, and a lot of what they did was wanting to put everything in a little box, like a petticoat of its own. Everything has its own petticoat. But in terms of when you say we lost track and this distinction between sexual and sensual, was that something you had to learn yourself? Was that something you were always aware of?
Very much. As growing up as a young girl, I remember. I think a lot of us, especially of my generation, grew up with so many inhibitions. We were somehow made to feel ashamed of being girls, and therefore we had to take extra precautions because the world was full of aggressive and dangerous males out there who would have assaulted us, raped us, harmed us, violated us. And that's sort of ingrained into our thinking from the age of maybe 3 or 4, that you'll always tell a girl, don't ever step out unless you're fully clad. And I remember all of that. But I also remember clearly, and it's mentioned in the book, because there's no point in talking about something theoretically, academically, if you can't acknowledge it in your own life. And only then can it be authentic when you're sharing something that you have felt and felt deeply about. So I remember feelings which were distinctly sexual, maybe from the age of 7, 8. And I think most of us would, if we care to look back. But there was so much guilt. Who could you have such a conversation with? Who can you, at that stage, it's not even as if you can share those feelings because you're confused yourself that what are these feelings? Am I supposed to feel bad about myself because I'm feeling something that's not